Good morning, everybody. How are we? Are we good? Sorry, just let me just have a little shufty. Okay, so we are live on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, for the launch of the brand new Doodle Art Mandalas. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining me. If you can, hello Tracy. I will be following the comments on Facebook because that's the one, because I've only got so many devices to be fair. So that's the one I'll be following. But if you are joining on Instagram, thank you so much for joining. I really, really appreciate it. If you are on Facebook or anything like that and you can share this live or whatever, I would really appreciate that too. You're legends. Thank you very much. Right, now let me take a seat and let's see what's going on. Right. Are we all good? Isn't it a wet and dark day? For me, it is the absolute perfect day to say, let us launch something bright and beautiful, and pretty and whatever. I have got all my lights on in here, so hopefully it's as bright as it can be. Well, it is as bright as I can make it, that's for sure. Oh, hang on. I think he's messing about and I can't see the comments. Hello! Right, so Sue, Shaz, Laura, Julie, Deborah, thank you so much, everybody. If you are just joining on, if you can share, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Okay, I will try to keep my eye on the comments, but also I'm very aware of the fact that, you know, we do have an hour and we want to get cracking. All right. So this is the brand new Doodle Art Mandalas. We have number 1 and number 2. I know I'm very imaginative. What can I say? Yeah, Bromsgrove isn't too far. You're absolutely right. So these were drawn by me, and I originally thought of these as stamps for background building in my art journals and things like that. But I think what the creative team especially have shown us with a lot of their samples is how beautiful they work with feature stamps. Sam has also made some really beautiful samples that she'll be showing you later on today. And I just think they lend themselves so well. Okay, so first things first, Sam has put a link on for the bundle for you. Now, what I will say about that is, obviously, that if you do like both, that is the best way to buy because that's the cheapest, basically. Sorry, I'm just taking my iPad off the Wi-Fi, just to make sure. Yeah, really good for like things like MDF coasters, absolutely. But yeah, I just think there's a really good scope with them. I've put quite a lot of doodle details in there. However, I think what you can do with these is expand them outwards if you want to add in more details. Okay, so like I say, Sam has put a link to the bundle on. That is on the Facebook page. If you are watching on Instagram, I will put other links on, but you can follow the link in the bio to the Be Crafty website anyway, and you just go to Be Crafty Stamped and then Doodle Art, and there they are in there. All right, so this is so exciting. Also, we are doing a free stamp with every single order made today. Okay, so if you're making an order today, you will get a free stamp. This is obviously a while stocks last thing, but generally we managed to do that. So for your orders today, we will be putting in a free stamp as well. So, and as always, if it's just stamps you're buying on the Be Crafty website, you do get free P&P. So there's, you know, lots of reasons, not to mention how beautiful they are. So what I was thinking was, during our last launch, something everybody enjoyed a lot, is because we don't get time to do it when we're on TV, is do a stamp of every individual stamp we're selling today so that you can see those just as they stamp in black and white. Okay, so we do have the I do have all the creative team samples here, so if there is anything you saw last night and it's like, oh, I hope she shows that again, just say and I can get that for you. I've got the basket here. Sam has also got a few of the creative team samples that she showed on Chit Chat Friday, and she will again bring those in to her live. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a Super Skinny Slim. I did mean to clean all my Super Skinny Slims, but I just didn't get there. I'm sorry, so hopefully you'll forgive me for my dirty Super Skinny Slims. Alright, but yeah, sorry, I probably just should cover. So there are 12 altogether. But the fantastic thing about these, okay, is it's not just the 12 you have. Because if you look, there are lots of sort of smaller mandalas that you can focus on, you can pick out, you can cut out individually and layer up, okay? So it's not just the 12 in the bundle that you have, there is actually more, okay? Which is fab. We like more. Like even this one, because you can start obviously with this complete outer, or you can go with the straight lines, or you can just take the star out of the middle. So again, lots more you can build with. Right, so let's just put these up here. Shall we put them to the sides? I don't really know. Right, that's the layer for my project, so we'll come back to that in a minute. So this is the mixed media card, the Dolly Dimples mixed media card that I'm stamping on. So it is sort of like an off-white and it is quite textured. So, you know, let's start. So I'll start with Mandalas 1. Because that makes sense, I think. All right, and then we'll go on to Mandalas 2. And like I say, I'm going to stamp them all in black and white. So you can see, because I think sometimes, I will say, it was a difficult one for us. And, well, Sam especially, because I made her decide. Because for example, the creative team, see, look at this. This is one of my favourites. With a lot of stamps, especially accessory stamps, I have this thing where it's like knowing which ones to make bigger, which ones to make smaller, because I draw them all big, because that way I can pick. And this is one of these, it's like I wanted to make it bigger, but you can't make them all bigger. You know, you have to pick which ones you want to be big and which ones you want to be small. And I thought this one would make sort of like a really good add-in sort of stamp as well if it was smaller. So as much as I wanted it bigger, I thought smaller would be the way to go. Okay, yeah, so what I was saying was, so Sam had to decide whether the backing cards came coloured or black and white, okay? Because I honestly do think the black and white just shows how beautifully and all the detail you can get with these mandalas. And I think it's easy to see with these which of the details you can pick out, which ones you maybe want to keep separate, and things like that. And I was so glad I made Sam decide, because I honestly just could not decide. I'm going to need a slightly bigger Super Skinny Slim for that one. Okay. So on the website, I have also put on the measurements of the largest and the smallest in each set. I can't remember those off the top of my head, so which I'm sure has come as no surprise to no one. Now this one here is Sam's favourite of the new Doodle Art Mandalas. She has not made any secret of that fact. And if she shows you all of her samples, later you'll see that that's actually painfully obvious, because she has actually used them all. Okay, this one on pretty much all of them. Okay, so that is the first three, so let's keep going. So we've got this one here. I love this one. It's sort of got like a frondy leaf in the middle. And yes, all of the new Doodle Art Mandalas are very circular, because we all like circles. I mean, we all take the mick out of Janie for her love of circles, but I think crafters as a whole, we all just love circles, don't we? I think they're such a good shape. I think they're really good for keeping creative flow. I think it was Lou Sims said on telly the other day or last week, it's because there's no end to a circle. So it's sort of like very symbolic for your creativity, that you can just keep going, which is absolutely fab. Okay, this one I absolutely love. I was saying last night, this one, it makes me think of all the desserts people have been making with sort of like slices of apple that I've seen on TikTok. It sort of gives that sort of apple rose. Or maybe I'm just thinking about pudding all the time. I don't know. I love pudding. I do love pudding. Alrighty, so and then this is the last one from set 1, and this is a really cool one because this is a great one if you want to add in some of your own doodles. I wanted to make sure I left some with a bit of space, so if you wanted to add in some of your own doodles, you absolutely could with these, because it's got that bit of space as well. Okay, so now you can see why I very much struggled whether to do them in black and white. So for example, the creative team, all their backing cards are in black and white because I didn't want to lead them in any particular direction either. But you know, I think you can see, so you can see they're a little bit bigger than they are on the front of your backing card as well. Like all of the Be Crafty stamps, the backing cards are laminated, so you can use them as your storage sheets rather than the acetates, and it means you've got a picture of what they look like, and it all, you know, it keeps it really cool, and you've got all of our details on there should you need them. Okay, so that is set number 1. All right, now this one, it's Sam's favourite one. That is the biggest mandala there is. Okay, so this set I believe has the biggest and the smallest mandala, because this is the smallest and this is the biggest. All right, on your set number 2, what I did on this one was I wanted all of these a bit bigger, in all honesty. So that meant that's why there isn't one the same size as on this sheet. It's only marginally smaller, but it is a little bit. Okay, so what you've got here is, this is the biggest one on this set, but the nice thing on this one is you've also got this beautiful square type, you know, star as well, and then you've got all of these. Okay, which is great. So what we'll do is we'll stamp these in the black and white now as well, so you can see these in the black and white. Okay. Right. So this one has come off first, so we will use this one. Okay, this one, I think it was Sue, has made a fantastic sample where she has cut acetate layers out using the straight lines. Is a guide, which means it was really, you know, it's nice and easy to cut out. You don't need to worry about fussy cutting. Can I see that to hand right now? Because it's a really good example of this one. They're all in the basket next to me. No, I will come back. I will come back to it. And I think it just really shows how, you know, here we go. So it looks really fussy. But what Sue's done is she's used the straight lines to create these sort of acetate coloured layers over her white heat embossing. You know, absolutely beautiful. Now we'll go on to this one. I feel in this set there is a couple of ones that maybe will be slightly underestimated to begin with, because they are quite simple, but I think that's what will make them really, really good. For pattern building and going behind other feature stamps. This one here, absolutely stunning on your sheet. It's here, and again, they're so easy to colour, and because they are doodle art style, you know, they do have that sort of relaxed drawing about them, which means if you want to add in extra bits, you don't have to worry about getting it perfect every time. That is not what we're going for here. We are going for, you know, just nice fun stamping where you can really sort of let your creativity go without worrying too much about perfection. Okay, funnily enough, I uploaded a video of my daughter yesterday, and it goes practice, 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 practice. What does practice make? Okay, for anyone who said perfect, wrong. Dismantle that belief system. Practice makes improvement. Okay? You can always do better. We can always do better. But the thing is, that means we can have so much more fun trying. The wooden the medallions. Yeah, I've still got a couple of those that I made lanterns with, and I'm hoping to do some more that sort of shape. Okay. Sorry, my iPad's given up, so I'm just standing up for a second, having a look at the comments. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. They are all workers. I'm not sure. Right, let me just have a... Sorry. I've flicked the comments too far. Yeah, if you aren't an expert cutter outer or an expert colourer, do not worry, you don't need to be with these Doodle Art Mandalas, okay? Right, so let's stamp this one up, which is... Oh, hang on. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I've just knocked my blending mat down. Cleaned it and everything. But we'll get to that. Right, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to ink up this star shape. Yeah, my iPad isn't playing ball, I'm sorry, so I cannot check comments. But I'm sure Sammy's still there if you've got any questions. Righty-ho. So this one, this is the only one that's not a circle, really. Okay? Because, I don't know, I just loved it. And I wanted to throw something in that was a little bit different. So that's why we went with that one there. Okay, I haven't done them in order, so I've completely lost track. This one is a real scallop doodle mix, and the reason I wanted to do that is so if you wanted a scalloped edge in various sizes or sort of like a doodle edge in various sizes, you can do that, you can achieve that in a relatively simple way. So I'm just going in with me super skinnies, bend and flex to get, or make sure we get all of those beautiful line details coming out. And I don't think I've left myself enough room for the biggest one because I'm a plonker. There we go. I don't think that will come as news to any of the Be Crafty regulars at all. Okay, so let me just grab a sheet of something. So I'm going to end up stamping off the edge. Or shall I just, I'll just stamp him on this bit. So you get a really good... Okay, so these are your Doodle Art 2, okay? And again, you can see you've got all of these beautiful details that stamp out. You've got the centres you can cut out to make smaller mandalas, okay? There's just a lot of scope and a lot of things you can do with all of these. So I hope that's helpful, okay? I hope that's helpful, and this is, like I say, this is something people very much enjoyed and asked me to recreate from when we did the October launch. We're starting out stamping everything in black and white so that you can really see all the detail, okay? And you can see why we had such trouble deciding whether or not to do the backing cards in black and white, but we do like the backing cards to be coloured because we just think they look a bit more, they look more like you want to pick them up, which is obviously what we're always going for. All right, okay, let's start creating. The problem I've got with my iPad not playing ball, I don't even have a clock at the minute. Okay, so we'll let that just have it's having a moment, it would appear. Okay, we'll take these over here. And a card. So for our first sample, we're going to be using Versamark, and we're going to be doing some white heat embossing and then blending with our distress inks over the top. Righty ho, I'm just trying to keep an eye on the comments. When you can't see them is the most difficult. I can't lie, it is difficult. Right, so here we go. So I'm going to go on to, no, what am I doing? I'm going to get my blending mat out, okay, because we're going to stamp on here with our white, and then we're going to and emboss with our white, and then we're going to do our inks over the top, okay? So we're going to create a background using some different ones of the smaller ones from both sets. We'll use some from both sets, and then we'll go in with our white heat embossing powder. So I think we'll go with these 3 small ones, I think, to create our background. Again, you could use others, you could use the bigger ones. It's really sort of up to you. That's the fun thing about it. Alrighty. I've already lost a super skinny slim. How do I do this? I don't know. And that was the cleaner one as well. So let me just give this a wipe down. Okay, and then what I'm going to do quickly is just put these on my Super Skinny. Okay, give them a spray with water. And then just wipe off that VersaFine Clear. Okay, so the embossing ink I'm using is Versamark. I know the creative team, they use various different brands, and that's absolutely fine. You have to use the one that suits you. I will say, in terms of Super Skinny Slims, these would work really good with the small set. I cannot find my small set. Probably the best thing for it. It's how it's keeping clean with me, isn't it? Right. So we're going to go in with our Versamark. And we're going to stamp this lots of times. Over our background. I'm already getting dirty fingerprints on, which is great, obviously. And then let's go in with the other one. Did you see me try and pick it up off there then? Oh dear. Okay, so I'm going to go in with this one. And again, this one is fantastic if you want to add in some more doodling of your own. Because it does have that gap there, I think, which makes that really, really useful and really handy. Okay. And then I'm going to go in with this one here, which has got a lot more detail in it. I'm going to go here. Oh. Off the corner here. And if they do overlap a bit, I actually don't mind that. I know it's a personal choice and lots of people don't like that, but I actually don't mind. I think it's pretty. Okay, so then I'm going to take this onto my bit of copier paper that I have. And we're going to go on with our white, our superfine white embossing powder. Okay, you can do this after you're inking as well. Again, it's just a choice as to what you prefer. I did actually have as well my anti-static bag, which I forgot to use. Okay, so you can see the powder on there. Take the excess back in. I'll just get it all over my fingers. Right, and then I'll just do another tap tap. So go on, I'm just going to do a flick over here. And then, because I didn't use my anti-static bag, and like I say, look, I had it here to use. Why didn't I use it? This is a very good question. I'm just going to go in with my paintbrush. I'll just put my finger on that one. That's brilliant. You could also do each stamp individually if you wanted to. You could, for example, stamp and then heat emboss, stamp and then heat emboss with each stamp individually. Okay, but that is totally up to you. Unfortunately, I'm not patient enough. And I mean unfortunately for my projects. Okay. Now, this technique was done by a couple of the creative team. You'll be able to catch up with their samples in the Be Crafty Stamps group. Okay, if you're not a member of the Be Crafty Stamps group on Facebook, you really should. We run a challenge every month where you can win free stamps. The DT are in there a lot, and you can find samples of every single release we've done. So, for example, the Be Crafty creative team, they create an album and they put all of their samples in there. Okay, which means, for example, say today you were like, right, I'm going to treat myself to some mandalas and maybe some journaling girls. Okay, that means when you get those stamps home, Okay, you can go on to the Be Crafty Stamps group, and there is a Journaling Girls folder where the Be Crafty creative team have put all of their samples using Be Crafty Journaling Girls. So there is inspiration there for you at any time. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to heat these. Now, if you're new to... I don't generally heat emboss live because it always goes wrong. But heat embossing was one of the first techniques I learned as a card maker. And I absolutely love it. I still love it. It amazes me when the powder turns. It makes me feel very, very magical. Because it is, and it's really beautiful. But your embossing powders are thermographic, okay? And that means they react to the heat. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't stop once they've finished becoming glossy, okay? So I don't know if we can pick this up, but I'm going to try. So for example, this one here is still matte because that's powder, and this one here has gone glossy. Okay, so we'll see if we can catch that change on here. Right, so where it goes from matte to glossy. Okay, now once that happens, okay, move on with your heat tool because you can overcook it. Alright, I would say if you're just starting out heat embossing, possibly the best one to start with is gold. And the reason I say that is because the gold embossing powder is sort of like a matte brown almost when you get it. Okay, and then what happens is it goes to this lovely shine. Okay, which is really easy to see. So if it's a new technique for you, okay, so you can see that lovely shine. And as you can see, it's a nice simple sort of background. You could just leave it as that. Okay? Yeah, don't waft your heat tool. Sorry, I've just stood up to check comments again. Don't waft your heat tool because you're then fanning the heat away. Yeah, so one of the darker metallics, definitely. So for example, Tracy's just said copper. Again, really good if you're just starting out. Alright? So the range of gold embossing powder. I will say as well, if you're just starting out, if you are just starting out and you're like, oh, I don't need to worry about super fine, I would disagree. Okay, if you're just starting out, I think the super fine detail range of embossing powders are actually the way to go. The reason being is if you have, you'll just instantly get a better image. Okay, I don't know. Not all of my powders are super fine. Some of them I have chunkier because I don't use a super fine if it's not an intricate image. But if you are just starting out, you're better getting one that will work across the board. Okay, and your super fine ones will. Right, okay. So let me just get that bit of powder off me blending mat. Marvellous. So, from here, what we're going to do is I think I'm going to go with greens. I've been thinking about this. I have been thinking about it. And I think I'm going to go with greens and yellows. I'll show you why once we've done our greens and yellows. But I'm going to mix it up, okay? So I'm going to use sort of like a twisted citron green. And then I was going to use my rustic wilderness, but can I see it? Can I eckers like? Don't know about that. Right, so I'll tell you what, then we'll go with a Lucky Clover. Okay. So then we've got our mustard seed, our twisted citron. And I'm going to go over this with blending brushes. Okay, as a sort of lighter application. I do still use blending tools. People ask me if I use blending tools. I still do that. But blending brushes, I have to say, with the more intricate templates, and things like that, they do just make your life easier. These ones are just from that famous forest/river. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. And we're going to work, I think we're going to work from dark to light. Okay, and the reason is it means you can blend out more colour if you want to. Okay, so we're going to go in with our Lucky Clover here. And I'm just going to work that into the brush just a little bit onto my blending mat. Then we're going to go in a couple of spots. Three spots, I think. then I'll put this to the side, and then we'll get our Twisted Citron. Okay, which is a really sort of zingy, but obviously this technique works with whichever colours. You know, like I was saying earlier, I totally understand or was it last night? I don't know, it's all sort of gone into one now. The Distress colour palette can look quite intimidating if you're just starting out, because there are so many colours. And one of the biggest questions is, which colours should I start with? Now, unfortunately, that is not a question I can answer. That is something you have to decide for yourself, because what if I was to recommend a purple, and you're like, well, I don't like purples. It would be absolutely no good to you, would it? So my recommendation is to start with a couple of colours that you like and work your way out from there. Okay. People ask also, what is better, Distress Oxide or Distress Ink? Neither is better than the other. They are different. The Distress Oxide gives you more of a... Sorry, I'm just standing up to look at comments again. Gives you more of a sort of chalky matte finish. The Distress Ink is a really sort of intense dye. Now, what I do recommend, because you can use the two together, just don't use the same applicators, but you can use the same on your cardstock, is what I do is when I'm building a collection from something that's already a massive colour palette, is I mix and match. So for example, say I love purple and pink. Okay, I wouldn't buy the purple and pink in both. I would get the purple and pink in one, and then I'd start adding in colours in the other one. So that way I could end up with all 64 colours, just a mix and match of each, and then fill in the gaps as and when I see them. Okay? Is that alright? Fantastic. If I use the black ink, the white goes silver for me. Oh, that's fantastic. Sorry, I'm just also catching up on a comment on Instagram, which is great. So yeah, basically what should normally happen is when you're heat embossing, it should always take the colour of the powder. Okay, so regardless of what ink you're stamping in, if it's a pigment ink, it should take the colour of the powder. But what someone's just said is, if they use black ink, the white will go silver. Okay, now in fairness, if I was going with a white powder, I would do try and make sure you use a clear or a white ink. It'll just make your life easier. Okay, right, let's add in our mustard seed. Obviously, if you're adding, I will say, I do have black powder, and I use black powder, and it's great and all this sort of thing, but it can be quite mucky, your black powder. Okay, so what I do sometimes do is I stamp with black ink and a clear powder. Okay, if you are using black powder, make sure you're using some sort of anti-static, or you're getting the excess off with a brush, because it can look quite mucky. So I'm just going to get me this thing to hold down, because I'm getting ink all over my fingers. Right, okay. So here is our blended background. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my blending mat to the side. No, I won't. Let's smush it now. So this ink I wouldn't waste, okay? Because we're not into wasting ink. That's not how we roll. Alright, so I'll tell you what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to spritz here. Alright, and then you can get some tags, or I'm going to get, let's get this one we did the individual stamp on earlier. Okay, and we're just going to pick up that ink onto here. I'm not sure this is the right cardstock for this. It's very much not. But it means you've already started colouring that. Okay, you can get another tag and sort of mop it up. And this sort of starts you off another, or your journal, get a page. Okay, and it starts you off, which is absolutely ace. Right. Okay. I will take off the rest though. My chair seems to have gone like super squeaky today. It's like it knew what today was and has decided today is the day to be super squeaky. Right, I'm going to find a dry bit of my painted towel. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to buff off. Okay, over the white embossing, and then that will just come up. It's beautiful bright white again. Now, bizarrely, the Lucky Clover and the Twisted Citron didn't seem to actually take on much of the over the embossing, but the mustard seed really did. So that's why I just want to buff that off. Okay. Now, your Distress Oxides are water reactive, just like your regular Distress Ink. I think we're now at the stage where possibly more people know about Distress Oxides than know about Distress Ink, because that's sort of where we've got to. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one of my favourite things to do. We're going to do a little bit of ghosting. Okay, so I'm going to use my Distress Sprayer, and I'm spraying onto my fingers, and we're going to do some drops onto our finished thing. Now obviously this isn't going to disturb the heat embossing at all, because that is now set. Okay, but what the water is going to do is it's going to pull that ink, it's going to wick it away, okay, and give us a sort of white ghosted space. You can already see it's working here. Alright, now this is where I would normally run a kitchen roll over it, but I haven't brought one. Oh, I've got a tissue that will just show you. So here, so we can just see where you can just see that colour just lifting off. See, that's a really good one. Okay, and then as this dries, and we are going to force it dry, okay, you can see you get those beautiful absolutely stunning, isn't it? So we're just going to carry on and dry that. So that is ready as our background. Okay. As I said, if you're just joining us, thank you so much for joining us today. We're launching the Doodle Art Mandalas. If you've got any questions, jump in. I can't see the comments at the minute, but Sam is here and she will answer any questions you might have. Okay. So this is going to be our background. Let me take my blending mat out of the way for our card. Now what I've done is I've already got a black layer on a white card ready. Okay, so this is going to go on here. And I think when you see it on its black layer, it does totally change how it looks in a good way. Okay, but you could also add in, because we're going on a black layer, you could add in more black onto that if you wanted to. All right, so I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll stick that down and then we'll move on to the next part. Now, again, I know we have lots of people that might be new, not even new to Be Crafty, but new to crafting as a whole. Now, when I'm sticking down my layers, okay, the center one is possibly the most important. Now, it's not necessarily important that you actually peel the backing off it, but it is important that it's there, because it stops your card concaving into itself and basically works as a support. Okay, so we're just gonna line that up. I have noticed I have a tendency to not line stuff up perfectly when I'm on a live, when I go back, and this is no exception, it would appear. Okay, and then we're going to decide which way we want that. It is a square, so it should fit anyway. No, I tell you what, I'm going to do it there, because I know what I want to do next. Okay, so yeah, I think that's going to go like that. Now, whilst I've been in this craft room trying to, I say craft room, it is an oversized cupboard, but I know I'm still very lucky to have it. Over the last couple of days, preparing for my live, what I've been doing is I've been creating lots of layered sections of these. Now, I did do a TikTok the other day doing this one where I created layers in here. Okay, and I've also done other small bits that I've started to layer up for other ones. So for example, this orange one here. Now, this is using possibly what I would say is one of the more simple ones that's got the scalloped and line edge. Okay, so this one is off Mandala 2. Sorry, let me just grab the backing card. So it's this one here, okay? But what I've done is I've laid it up, done 3 separate layers. 1, 2, 3, 4 separate layers. Okay. To create that using reds, oranges and yellows. And this was really easily coloured in. Okay. I will colour one of these in so you can see, depending on the time we have at the end. However, what I was doing is whilst, because obviously I needed these centre bits to colour for my small layers, but instead of coming in from the side, I got a knife and poked a hole and then cut round with scissors so that I could keep these outside sections, because I thought these make really good, they can make really good frames. You could use them for putting extra, you know, if you wanted to layer up, if you wanted to put that in the middle, if, you know, obviously this is the wrong colour, but you know, to create a different background. For example, so I was saying about the adding in different layers to different mandalas on this sample by Jane. Okay, again, she's used that one I was just showing you off Mandala 2. That is the background of this one. All right, so you can use different centers on different outers, and I think that is something that makes it really fun and really good to play with. All right, okay. Now, I have also got this one that I started colouring and I was supposed to have cut out ready, but I didn't quite get there, so we're not going to worry too much about that. But you can see what I do is I sort of over colour. Now, in this green layer, okay, where it looks like I've gone in and out all those little bits, totally not necessary. Now for this, what I wanted to show you I use, because I use my Eco Lines, which I absolutely love, and this is Eco Line paper. But I haven't used Eco Lines on this. I have used Crayola Super Tips, okay? I bought these for my bullet journaling, and they're really, really fun and cool to use. They've got quite a fine tip on them, which makes them really great. And I just wanted to see, because like I say, we as a business, we really appreciate, not everyone has everything. We don't have everything. So, you know, it's not as easy as saying, well, you know, you might have bought distress inks this month, or you might be buying the stamps, so you can't get Eco Lines too. And that's what I wanted to show you, okay? So, here. So I'm just going to show you on here where I've stamped this one. So this stamp is off Mandalas 1. It's this one right here. And again, I think it shows you in the different colours how different it can look. Alright. So, you see this scallopy edge round here. Oh, well, I wouldn't want to be, you know, spending ages going in and out. You don't need to go in and out. Because of how the lines are, if you colour it in a straight line, it doesn't go over the lines into that white section behind it. So basically, because of how I've drawn the line, if you lean your pen on the inner line and go round, you don't have to scribble in and out every scallop, because it looks like you have anyway. Okay? So that's easy, isn't it? And that's what I want. I want you to be able to spend your time creating, not worrying. And I hope, you know, so I don't want you to think, oh, these are really detailed, they're going to be really difficult to colour. Easy peasy to colour. And cutting, exactly the same. Absolutely exactly the same. So, for example, if I got one, like even this one, oh yeah, sorry, that one. So if you look, it's got a scallop edge. I cut it in exactly the same way. That's just been cut on one long cut. So, so even if you don't want to go in and out your scallopy edge, you don't lose your scallopy edge, because the detail's there that has it look like a scallopy edge. Yeah? Brill. Alright, so let's try and finish this card off. So I think what I'm going to do for this one is I think I'm going to go with maybe these two. Maybe I should have put some blue in the background. You see how this frames? So you could almost frame it over a bit there if you wanted to. I should have blended a bit of blue around the edge. Actually, I quite like it. Yeah, so this one here, sorry, this one's layered up. This one is a little video that's on the Facebook page and on our TikTok. If you are TikTok inclined. I think that there on there will look lovely. And what I wanted to do is show you as well. So this is an 8x8 card. So this is a big card. It's a big one. And so I wanted to show you how, so again, you could rearrange in different ways. Well, that's quite nice, isn't it? Okay, so you can rearrange those in lots of different ways. I could splatter a bit of blue Sally, but I'm very worried about that. We'll see. Right, so we're going to go for some sentiments now, and I'm going to go for the small words if I can see them. Yes, they are, because I want to show that the size of the stamp does not hold you back for a project. Just for example, how I would use a big stamp for a small card. Okay, you can use these smaller stamps to create something bigger. Right, so let me just get my pieces of white folder. Yes, see, I told you I'd been tidying and nobody believed me. I could hear the doubt from here. So much doubt. Right, we're going to move this to the side. I'm going to get my white piece and I'm going to find... Ooh. Imagine something wonderful on the small words. Okay, so I'm just going to put this down. Actually, I'm going to put it face down to make sure it's on a straight line. And then pick it up with my block. Okay. I've lost my VersaFine Claire. It's fine. It's here. We're going to go down. All the Super Skinny Slims are back in stock on the website, like I say, including the small ones. Now, if you're buying the smaller set of the smaller Super Skinny Slims, like the square and the circle, for these, nearly all of these will fit on the circle one. For the big ones, you might need to go to your square. Okay, so let me just put those out there. I'm going to just give that a quick heat to heat set it. Because as it's VersaFine Clay, once it's heat, that's it permanent. And I do just cut this freehand with scissors. I don't mind if it's wonky. I don't mind if it's not even. If you do, that's cool. Measure it on yours. We're going to imagine something wonderful. Okay. So we're going to take... I'm going to really sort of layer this one up, I think. So I'll stick that down there. While I'm cutting foam, let me just stand up. What am I talking about? Oh, thank you so much. And we're just going to keep sticking these on. Has the weather improved yet? I can't tell. My little cupboard I sit in is right in the middle. Couldn't I find a big pair of scissors? I'm safer with a big pair of scissors. It's the little ones. I could have found a bigger pair of scissors, I'm sure. But I am actually less likely to cut my finger off with a big pair. So for me, that's a good enough reason. You see it a lot, to be honest. With demonstrators, they'll go for a really big pair of scissors because they're less likely to do themselves a mischief. Okay, so we're going to stick that down. Now, I actually have to commit, don't I, and decide where I want these. I'm actually thinking something like that. No. What do we think? Or do I put this in? No, I don't want it in the middle. That's a bit too regular. See, I'm thinking something along those lines. What do you guys think? And as well, obviously, all of this is really transferable to an art journal page or something like that. Oh, Sam is going to be building an ark in her life, so that'll be good. That'll be good. It's terrible rain, isn't it? Perfect day for a lovely live launch from Be Crafty. Right, I think what I'm going to do, if you guys don't mind, is I'm going to leave that like that. And I'm going to come back to it. And if that's how, I actually really do like it. I'm looking at it as you're looking at it now because I'm stood up. And I'm really, really chuffed with that. I think it's really pretty. Which is great. Okay. So I am actually going to leave it like that. And then come back and commit to stick it down. And this is something I do often. And I would encourage you guys to do it as well. Is, you know, layer it up, leave it, see what you think. And then you can always come back at another time and stick it down. Noreen's got sunshine. Right, everybody pack up your crafty bits. We're off to Noreen's because she's got sunshine. Okay. Right, so Sam has put the links on. We will be doing more links throughout the day. If you can't find anything on the Be Crafty website, please let us know. I'm fully aware our Distress Inks took a bit of a hammer in this morning, but I'm still sure that most colours are available. We do also have, like I say, the Super Skinny Slims in stock, and we do have lots of the inkables, including the fantastic tag ones that launched last month. I was going to put some on this, but I just wanted the focus to be the mandalas for this one. So thank you so much for joining me for this launch. Okay, you can understand why they don't just let me talk unchecked on the television, can't you? I can fill an hour by myself, but in fairness, I think I do a cracking job. What can I say? We really get to talk about the new product, don't we? Tracy Webster, chucking it down in Walsall. Well, in fairness, darling, we ain't that far. Right, so thank you so much. Right, now, do not go anywhere, okay? Because our first giveaway, our hour-long giveaway of the day, is coming at 11 o'clock, okay? And then you've got to make sure you're back here for, well, to see the winner get announced. And then we have the live by Anne. Well, it's not a live by Anne. I meant to redo that. It's a pre-record by Anne going live on YouTube, but I will tell you as soon as that is available at 12 o'clock. So you can follow the link straight from the Be Crafty Facebook page and Instagram, where you can find the link in the bio to the Be Crafty YouTube. Okay, and then you can go straight and watch that live as well. It's a fantastic MDF video as well. It's a fantastic MDF tag. But make sure you stay here on the Be Crafty Facebook page, and we will keep you updated every hour on the hour for the rest of the day. All right, guys, thank you so much. Bye-bye.